What's up, guys? I'm your host, John from Incline, and today we have an awesome episode. I'm super excited about my guest. In the studio today, I have Elliott from Space Lizard Exotics. He's an awesome dude. I've known him probably for a year, maybe going on a year and a half right now. Him and I used to work together at a reptile shop called Beasties. It's a place where I got a lot of my experience. It's where I bought my first ball python. And this dude's just been rad. I used to walk into the shop and talk to him and some of the other employees at this reptile shop, and that's kind of how we hit it off. He's got an awesome following on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. So he's backstage. Let me bring him on, and we can get this show going. What is up, Elliott?
What's up, John? How are you, man?
I'm doing awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
really
you,
quick,
man. This is right.
Yeah, dude. I think it's gonna be an awesome show. I mean, you have some of the best animals I've ever seen, and I would love to work with those. Maybe one day or something like that. But right now I'm kind of into ball pythons, and I got a bow and a Savannah monitor. But man, if I had the space and things like that, I would love to get involved in things like that. But real quick, what we're going to do right now is kind of say hello to a couple people that showed up in our chat and are kind of watching right now. So First up, we have Ken from LMK Reptiles. He was a guest on my show. I think it was last week. He's kind of watching. Cool. We got Kike from Boza Balls. If you're not familiar with Kike at Boza Balls, he is like an ambassador for the reptile community.
That's right. What's up, Kike?
He is super amazing. I mean, he'll promote people and really get people's names out there and stuff like that. And just a huge supporter. So thank you for coming out. I've got Michaela from Michaela's Farm. Once again, an awesome lady in this community. She's got a lot of really cool animals. We got Cole Waltz up in here. He's go check him out. He streams a lot. Also another huge supporter of people in this community. We got E Reptile Dysfunction up in here. What's up, E?
What's up, everyone?
Old Devil Python. Old Devil Ball Python's up in here. Thank you so much for coming out. And yeah, man. So really quick, man. So talk a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What's your brand? How did you come up with your brands? And things like that.
Yeah. My name's obviously Elliott. I run and own Space Lizard Exotics, branding it out basically as just wanted to start it as a very cool experience on YouTube and social media, right? Just showing off these amazing animals, especially the dwarf caimans, and just my love for emerald tree boas and green tree pythons. Honestly, it kind of started like that, just with kind of getting into it, and then gonna hopefully start this season, upcoming 2023. Gonna start getting into actually breeding a lot of the emerald tree boas, green tree pythons, and doing some interesting stuff with tokay geckos too.
Nice.
It's just honestly just kind of sprouted just for my love for reptiles, and as all reptile keepers are obviously aware, you get one and then you just fall in love with them, and then all of a sudden you have a collection, and it's just absolutely a zoo, right? But it's fantastic, and it's just I think the coolest thing is just seeing how many other amazing humans there are just in this community, and just discussing about their animals and just learning from each other is one of the coolest experiences ever, because there's people that have had these animals, a lot longer than I have, and just getting into them too. And just having that commonality is absolutely spectacular. I love it. And it's just really cool, and we're all in for it for, the same reasons, just loving and caring for something that we're passionate about. And that's amazing. So.
For sure, man. And how did you come up with Space Lizard Exotics? Does it have any sort of, deep meaning to it, or is it something how did you come up with that name? Because I think it's an awesome name. It definitely sets you apart. Definitely sets you apart from other brands and things like that. And man, dude, I don't think you could have chosen any, a brand name that's better than that. Right. From how I know you and your sort of personality and style. I think it's awesome.
Man. Right on. Well, thank you, man. So honestly, it all I love space. I think space is just mind blowing. And just thinking about And hey, I'm a stoner, man. So you get some crazy ideas sometimes, right? And so I was just thinking, I was just like, man, just like, can you imagine just like a big ass like space lizard, dude, like a reptilian? And I was like,
Mm,
space lizard exotics. I'm like, that would be rad, right?
dude,
And yeah,
for sure.
just all kind of clicked, and I liked how it sounded, rolled off the tongue good, and I just kind of went with it, man. And
Mhm.
it's been fitting so far, so it's been cool.
Nice. And when did you come up with that name? Like, how long have you been, trying to push that?
It's been coming on 2 years now.
Okay,
So
nice.
I made it into like an LLC, did the trademark on it, which was super cool, man. And just yeah, just
Nice.
been going with it, man. Super rad. Yeah, just like I thought it would be like just like a fun, one to kind of make it fun and exciting too, because like I mean, it is exciting having like the animals that we deal with on a daily basis. It's an exciting thing, right? It's just an experience altogether. Kind of gets you an adrenaline rush sometimes. Sometimes it's calming. It's just all these experiences at once. So it's super cool. So,
For
and I
sure.
don't know, man. There's
There,
probably lizards in space, man. We don't know. We don't know.
there might be, there just might be. So I'm going to pull you up on the big screen real quick, and I want you to introduce who you got. Let me just pull you up really quick.
Yeah, she's my
So,
sweetheart, man.
so tell me about who you've got in your hand right now.
All right, so this is my baby girl Nebula. This is actually the first dwarf caiman that I've had at Space Lizard Exotics. Actually, my first dwarf caiman ever. Um, Absolutely fell in love with her when I first saw her, actually, and I actually got her at Beasties. Super rad, right?
Nice. Hell
So,
yeah.
she's super fucking cool. So I could actually just carry her around like this, like all day, just kind of like toting stuff around, doing stuff with her. She's actually the calmest caiman I have, and that just honestly came from just handling her daily. I do that with all the caimans, but Brutus obviously is my male. He's a little bit harder to kind of tame out, which is
Mm,
fine. I love his
sure.
personality. And then I have another little female, Rhea, and she's a little shit goblin. Oh my god! But she's super funny. She's a little feisty. Oh my god! But she's a sweetheart, dude. Like I trust her 100%. She once in a while has like a little mood, but we all do, right? It's like waking up, you don't have your coffee. You're like, ain't having it today, right? So I'm
Sure.
assuming she has the same kind of, personality, obviously without the coffee, but yeah,
Yeah.
she's fucking cool, dude. Like I could just, kick it with her all day like this, man. I let her run around when I'm doing kind of chores in the reptile room. She usually just kind of
Nice.
watches me. Easy to pick up, super cool. So, and this is Nebula. So,
What's up, Nebula? Yeah, man. Like, yeah, just following you and knowing you, a little bit as a person and seeing your animals all the time. Like, it's just amazing. And, seeing your TikToks, and we'll get into that, a little bit later, is, a lot of people kind of can get behind that as far as like having those cool animals, and they want to see, dwarf caimans, emerald tree boas, just these weird sort of, exotic type of animals. You know what I mean? And I
heck
think
yeah,
it
man.
definitely separates you from, the ball python breeders or this or that, people that, um, I don't know, man. Like, how many people have a dwarf caiman?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a crazy community actually. Like, obviously Instagram and Instagram particularly has opened up a lot of, you know, got a lot of doors for just talking to a lot of keepers of dwarf caimans. And it's actually pretty amazing. It's pretty cool, dude. And some of them are just super chill, super calm. And then there's this one guy I particularly follow. I think you might follow him too, Rocco. Rocco the
Maybe.
Cayman or something like that. Anyway,
I'm
dude, he
not
has a
sure.
great
I'll
setup.
have to.
Yeah, check it
Okay.
out. He has a very good setup. It's done a fantastic job, dude. Like superb. And dude, they are so calm. They're so calm, and so it's very inspiring to see that.
Mm,
Just because you see other humans having that connection with technically an animal that most people fear and have like kind of stay distant from or are very scared to handle, or they're not used to handling those types of animals. And I'm that same. I'm kind of funny with that though, man. I like feel like time is definitely a reflection of like time. Just time well spent on these animals, man, is going to be a reflection of how they act, technically, right?
oh,
So,
100%.
and it's dwarf caimans particularly because they're so intelligent. It just takes time, man. You are going to get bit, things like that, but it's so cool, dude. Just to have a calm caiman like this that you can just handle, it's pretty fucking cool. So,
For sure, man.
oh.
So my next question for you is, how long have you been keeping reptiles?
So my first reptile, I was 18 when I got,
Okay.
well, my first serious reptile was 18. I had like lizards and shit when I was growing up, but it was like, it was just like, um, I wasn't a serious keeper then. It was just like, you're a kid, having all these pets, trying to figure out what you're kind of getting into. I always loved reptiles though, but my mom's kind of sketchy about having them in the house, man. To
Yeah,
be honest
I
with
get
you.
it.
But honestly, man, I when I was 18, I got a green tree python. Was
Okay.
absolutely not ready for it, dude. Like I was not
Mm,
experienced enough with that shit. I was just like, what
yeah.
the fuck? And so then I got a red tail boa, and it was
Okay.
fucking cool, dude. It was super rad. We kept it in the tattoo shop, and we actually had two. I was working at a tattoo shop at the time, so I'm not trying to go over
Okay.
the story, but we kept them in the tattoo shop. Also had two ball pythons as well in there. Those
Okay.
are the other
Cool.
gentlemen I worked with. So sort of, just getting experience with them, and then dude, I always wanted a green tree python, dude. I was just always
Yeah.
like, still like, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get into them. Fuck it. I just want to learn as much about them as possible. What sparked my interest, man, was reading that Greg Maxwell book, The Complete Chondro. Dude,
Oh, okay.
blind blowing, dude, right? And a lot of great information in there. It's dated a little bit, but it's dated well, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so it's really fucking cool, man. And dude, I just saw these snakes and they're just like gems, dude. And I was just like, oh my God, there are these boreal species that hang out in trees and that you could just see them. And I was like, that's my goal. I'm going to, learn as much as I can about them. I'm going to get into them. And then
Yeah.
years kind of went by and I got a really good opportunity to get an Aru. And I just
Okay.
jumped on that immediately. And that's actually Hella, one of the green tree pythons that I do have in the collection. So
Gotcha,
super
man.
cool. And then,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So, man, you somewhat from what you just told me, you started kind of young. What was it like growing up as a kid? Like you said, your parents didn't really like having reptiles in the house, or like, how did you start that fascination with animals and reptiles and stuff like that?
yeah, honestly, dude, just I've always loved animals, dude. So like
For
when
sure.
every time I went to a pet store or anything like that,
Yep.
we always had animals in the house, but reptiles was a little taboo, and it was just at that time, at least in my house, it was just not a
Sure.
thing. I was like, hey, let's wait on that, maybe, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
later, kind of a thing. But it was cool every time I went to a pet store. My folks are awesome, dude, and so they're like, hey, man, if you want to hold them, do your thing.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it was mainly ball pythons, especially in that time,
Sure.
right? You'd see ball
Yeah.
pythons everywhere, dude. So holding a lot of ball
Yep.
pythons, and I just always thought it was fascinating, dude. I loved how they felt. I just like their mannerisms. It was just super cool, dude. And I don't know, just always sparked my interest, and I always knew I was going to get into them. And funny
Mm.
thing, I always knew I was going to own some sort of crocodilian in my life. I always told myself that when I
Okay.
was a kid. I was like, I'm going to own a crocodile. And then I got older, and I was like, well, I can't own a crocodile legally yet, unfortunately. But I can own dwarf caimans, and so I was close enough. So
Nice, man. And is there any sort of particular memory that stands out growing up that, yeah, just maybe like is that one memory that just sort of like captured your mind? You're like, man, like that's the moment in time where I knew this is kind of where I wanted to go with life, or
a lot of it honestly was just once once I started handling a lot of the snakes in like the tattoo shop a lot, man. I just thought it was
yeah,
fascinating, dude. Just like dealing with them because just basic maintenance, and just handling them and just how calming they were, dude. You could just be hanging out, dude, watching like YouTube video. We would just be waiting for an appointment or something and just chilling with the snake, and it was just like really
yeah,
cool experience with that. And then to realistically, once what really like kickstarted it for me, man, was recently about that 2 year ago mark. Once I started getting back into reptiles, really, deep again, man. Started getting green tree pythons, things like that. I was just like, fuck it, dude. I want to do something that makes me happy in life, dude. I'm 31 now, dude. So it's like kind of like, I've done a lot of different kind of odds and ends, and I just,
yeah,
at this point, dude, I just want to do something that I'm super passionate about and that makes me happy, man. And everyone should do that in life, man. Anything, whatever that is, I feel. But yeah,
for
reptiles,
sure,
it's just a cool fucking thing, dude. It's cool, and I get to meet rad humans like you. Super cool,
dude.
right?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things about the community and the reptile industry is the fact that like you get to meet so many awesome people from all sorts of walks of life, ages, this, that. And there's just something different that I feel like you can't really find, in a lot of places. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's certain communities out there. I'm sure, there's like biker communities, reptile communities. I'm sure there's like tattoo communities or this or that. But I feel like the reptile community is just so well knit together. Like everyone supports everyone, no matter what your background is,
Heck yeah, man.
what your religion, race, where you are in the world. Like it, I feel like it just breaks down a lot of barriers, things
Oh,
like
dude,
that. So I think that's
100%.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah, because
super
I've
cool.
met people that. Oh,
Oh,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
man.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've met all sorts of people that like before I got into reptiles, I might never even talk to. You know what I mean? But
Dude,
then,
for
yeah,
real.
getting into reptiles, you meet people like that. Yeah, maybe they're just so different from you, but they have the same interests and hobbies, and yeah, so it's really awesome.
Dude, I love it,
Um,
man. Just finding that, common ground with, people around the world, dude. Like you said, that you would never
yeah,
normally like, meet or, normally talk to, and all of a sudden that breaks that like barrier, man. And it is, dude.
for
It's
sure.
welcoming. It's welcoming to everybody, man. Doesn't matter like where you come from, anything, dude. Background, anything, dude. It's just like, we're dealing with, technically, sometimes predatory animals, sometimes more like docile reptiles, but at the end of the day, man, it's a gnarly place to be in, right? It's just
Yeah,
like you're doing something a little bit unorthodox, not like a kitten or a puppy in a sense, right? So it's cool.
sure. So I want to bring something up real quick. Kike says he likes my shirt, and so I kind of want to talk about that real quick. So this shirt is from Primal Scales. I just picked up a lavender het pied female
Dope.
from Ken at Primal Scales. But going back to the whole community thing, it's really awesome to see people build their brands. They got T-shirts, stickers, YouTube, Instagram. Like it's something that we're all trying to build, and I think that's what sets us apart from other people. Like I don't know outside of like the reptile community, like who's really trying to like build a YouTube. I know there's a lot of gamers and streamers that kind of do that. But I just think it sets us apart, for the fact that like we each have our own little brand and like our own little, contribution to the world.
It's so
So,
fucking cool,
when
dude. Yeah.
when I get like t-shirts or like stickers or anything like that, like it's just such a rewarding feeling to know that like you have a sort of connection out there, from someone that might be 2,000 miles away or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
because a lot of these people, I only really know from online. And eventually, I'll be able to go to like Tinley, Daytona, Arlington, like these bigger shows and things like that, and actually meet them. But it's just so awesome because I wear these with pride. And then you walk around with a shirt that's got like a ball python or some sort of reptile on it, and people ask you about it, and then you can like start educating them on what you're into, educating them about snakes or
Heck
dwarf
yeah, man.
caimans or whatever it is, because people see these flashy little logos and that they're curious about it.
Dude,
um
absolutely.
yeah, so I love that.
Yeah, I love your brand,
So
by the way, man. Your logo's dope. I love that, dude. Super rad.
thank you, man.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
man.
definitely been something I've been really trying to work on for a really, really long time. I think when I first started out, um, I mean, a lot of people kind of heard my story about finding this name in a dictionary because I was looking for band names and this and that. But like the Inkle line stuck with me for 10, 15 plus years, as far as like wanting to do something with it and own it as like a brand. And then, I bought my first ball python and I'm like, all right, this is the direction I want to go. But man, like I've thought of so many different avenues to take the Inkline brand. Like, I've drawn like tons of logos and notebooks before and stuff like that, even before I had like the reptile thing going on. And yeah, so it's been fun. I thought about doing like a plant service or an animal, like an animal care service or this and that. And it's just like, once I got into reptiles, it just made sense. You know what I mean? And then I
Well,
could kind of formulate my brand around that. Um, but
that's
moving
dope.
on, man, what animals do you keep at your house?
So basically, I have my emerald tree boas,
Okay,
which I have two of those. So I have a male and female. I'll actually show them off here in a second. Actually, you know
nice,
what? Let's show them off now. I'm gonna put this little gal down. She's fine. She's gonna just run around for a second. Let's show off some snakes
for
if that's
sure.
cool. So check out some snakes. I'm
Oh
gonna put
yeah,
you down.
man.
You be good. So cool. I'm gonna let her do her thing, run around like a little maniac. So all right. So now I did just feed the snakes the other day. If you guys actually,
Okay.
if anyone's interested, check it out on. I posted some of it on TikTok, some not all of it on TikTok because they've been all sad with some of the feeding videos. Crazy. I'm not even live feeding. They get all sad about it. But
Oh, I see.
I did post it. I did post it on Instagram though, which is I love Instagram, dude. Instagram's so fun.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
But anyway, so this is Marduk. He is dope.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I feel like it's
Yeah, dude.
a little bit choppy, the video right now, or at least on my end. I don't know why.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
But oh no, you're good. You're good. But oh man, I would love one of those.
Yeah, dude, they're
Yeah,
cool, dude. So he's a trip, dude. Definitely one of the prettiest snakes, like in my opinion. I love him. Love emerald tree boas, dude. Funny thing
for
is,
sure.
man, like I didn't honestly plan on getting into emerald tree boas as much as I got into them recently.
Okay.
I just, I was mainly just all green tree python out, dude. Like, dude, this is it, right? And then I
Nice.
got emerald tree boas, and I just lost my mind. And dude, they're rad, dude. Super fucking cool.
Yeah.
And then that's the other little gal. She's beautiful. So
Yeah, it's so
awesome,
nice.
dude. Yeah, dude.
How big are they? How big are they gonna get? I actually don't know too much about them, so.
So they'll probably get up to about 6 feet,
Okay.
full grown.
And yours are like
girthier snake too, so like they're definitely going to get more girthy. The females
gotcha.
are a lot larger than the males over time.
Okay.
They do have the longest teeth out of any non-venomous snake too. So that is one thing that is expected when you do get into those. That their bangers are gnarly, dude. You definitely see some teeth on them. Kind of crazy.
For sure.
Way larger teeth than green tree pythons. Green tree pythons. I mean, like you're gonna, it's honestly, dude. Like you have a plethora of snakes, right? And you've been bitten so many times, but like we all have with snakes, right? It's honestly, dude. It's about the same as getting bit by a ball python.
Sure.
When they're like normal, like I would say like sub-adult kind of size, dude. When they do get larger, they do have green tree pythons definitely have a little bit longer teeth than the regular like python, but it's nothing to be scared of. But emerald tree boas, dude, they do have some bangers. So yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
You got to watch those. But heck yeah,
for sure.
Cool. And this is one of the green tree pythons. She's obviously in striking mode, ready to fuck some shit.
Oh
up.
yeah.
Super beautiful though. That's Hella. Actually, she's super cool.
Nice. Oh man, yeah,
super rad. She's actually doing her.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, she's doing her luring right now. So if you see, I don't know if the video's choppy or not, but if you see her tail move at the end there.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so I got a question for you.
Yeah, super. What's up, man?
Oh no. So someone in the chat. So Cole is asking, are they aggressive, and do you handle them often?
So I do handle them quite often, actually. They are very, very defensive when they're inside their enclosure.
Gotcha.
So when you open it, usually they come straight at you, actually, because they think it's food. So they're very food-driven snakes. Most arboreal species are. So they're gonna be on point, man. So I know it sounds kind of crazy. Just expect to get tagged. Just expect it. A good way to get them to kind of like realize it's you though. As soon as you go in there, do not hesitate. Just go in there quickly. Even if they tag you, don't pull back though. Just kind of like let it chill, and then kind of slowly act like a tree. Once you get them on you, they are chill. They will chill the fuck out. Another tidbit: if anyone's getting into green tree pythons, if they want more of a, I would say more of a calmer, they're all defensive, but not as defensive, I should say. I would look into getting a Aru or a Sarong. So those are the more a little bit more easier to handle species of that, like of green tree pythons. Biaks are very nippy, and they never stop being nippy usually. So
gotcha.
So
oh man, I think I might have lost my train of thought right there for a second. So what I was gonna say is, I think as far as like getting in there and not being reactive to a snake is something I learned working at Beasties, because man, like working with every now and then you'll get like an angry retake. You're like honestly the worst, or at least most like attitude and like aggressive sort of snakes I had to work with there were the carpet pythons. And
Oh yeah, dude, I remember those. Yeah, those were
and
fun.
that I know Ron had like a carpet python that had a couple neurological issues, and that one just like you don't know where it's gonna come at you from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, dude.
Um,
Luckily, I never got hit by the carpets, man. But dude, the
yeah,
retics would fuck with me so hard,
yeah,
dude. Oh my god,
yeah.
like those are the anacondas, dude.
Oh, see, I haven't
No bueno.
actually. I think of all the animals, we're talking like ball pythons, colubrids, retics, berms, carpets, things like that. I think the only one I didn't get bit from was the anaconda. I think they
No
had when I was
way,
working there were like two of them. But you always got to be careful because like you never know, you never know.
bro. And
But
they're side biters, bro. Like you
okay,
don't think they're gonna get you, and all of a sudden they just like hit you from the side, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
bro. And they're so fast, dude. They're so fucking fast, too,
yeah,
man. But yeah, yeah, that
yeah.
was fun. That was a fun
But it was,
experience working there.
oh yeah, yeah, I loved it. And you just get to see so many different crazy, cool animals all day, every day. And Ron
Super
would.
rad, dude.
I feel like every week Ron had something new that I've never seen before. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you guys are ever in Colorado, check out BC's.
Yeah,
So many awesome things. Like I said, any sort of snake that you can think of, any sort of like lizard, monitor. I think right now, like I said, I haven't been there maybe for like a month or something like that since I moved to Colorado Springs. But he's got Asian
yeah,
water monitors, Savannah monitors, black throat monitors, peach monitors, pretty much all that stuff. He's got legless lizards, caiman lizards, dwarf caimans, tortoises, turtles, tokays, leopards,
super
fat
cool,
tail
dude.
geckos, literally anything that you can think of. He's got and stuff you probably even never heard of, to be honest. And I
Dude,
think that
super
was
cool stuff.
yeah, that was probably the coolest thing about working there is because you get your hands into a little bit of everything.
Oh, dude.
And
Yeah, and he's a
you know,
plethora of knowledge, man. He has so much
oh my
information and
god,
knowledge, dude. He's like, yeah, dude, he's rad to talk to. So,
yeah, and I'm not exactly sure how Ron is, but he's been doing it probably for a good 20, 30 plus years, I'm sure. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure. Absolutely.
So he's been in the game, for a real long time, and definitely has that knowledge. I think after I got my first ball python, actually Travis is the one that sold my first ball python to me. But then every week, getting my rats and stuff going in there, like I would just ask questions about anything and everything, and so I got to talk to Ron a lot and Travis, and then eventually I started working there and things like that. But yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
that's
good
how you learn
experience,
too,
and
man.
if
Just asking those questions, dude, and it's super fucking cool, dude. So I love like just
yeah.
like talking to other reptile keepers, especially when they have that much experience, man. Because it's like, they're telling you just real shit, dude, that they've already been through. It's super cool. So
Yeah, and as far as like BC's goes, and compared to like all the other reptile shops I've been to, I definitely say it's the best one, the best maintained, most diverse. Because and I'm not trying to put any other pet shops down, but there's some really rugged ones, out here that
no,
are
there
just
is, man.
like
Yeah,
like they're not
enter
cleaning their
with caution, right?
enclosures. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
not like they're not cleaning their enclosures very well. The animals look like they don't have a very rich environment to live in. And it's kind of sad, but what I mean, like I know Ron likes a lot of the bioactive type stuff for a lot of his animals, and just constantly cleaning stuff down. And yeah, man, it
yeah,
was a
dude.
fun experience working there, and just being around all the employees that worked for him too, just having that same passion and desire for knowledge and stuff like that was really awesome. So I want to go back to the dwarf caimans really quick if I can. Just I got a couple questions about them because I'm
Heck yeah.
fascinated.
Let me pick her up real quick. Might as well get her back on
Oh,
camera, right?
not a
So
problem.
she's back. She's back again.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I think I know the answer to this, but how many dwarf caimans do you have?
I have three
Okay.
currently.
Yep.
I have Nebula, Rhea, and then Brutus. Super cool, man. Brutus is
And
over 2 feet now. So
nice. And what types of dwarf caiman do you own, and how many types are there in existence, if you happen to know that?
yeah, so there's I have the Cuvier's dwarf caiman. You also see them called blockhead caimans. So they're the most common in the pet trade.
Oh, okay.
As far as just like what you see. Sometimes you'll see like you'll once in a while see like Schneider's dwarf caiman, which I mean they're just usually a little bit more expensive. They do get larger than
Oh, okay.
regular Cuvier's dwarf caiman though.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so kind of crazy, man. But they are definitely the most common in the pet trade though. You won't
Gotcha.
see like there's like black caiman, things like that. I want to say there's 6 or 7 different species of dwarf caiman. Don't quote me on that. I should have probably known that already. Sorry about that. But
Oh no, you're
I'm
good,
pretty
bro.
sure there's 6 or 7, if I'm not mistaken. But
Sure.
yeah, the Schneider's dwarf caiman's super cool, dude. They have a way different like basically they call them blockhead caimans too because they like almost have like a little block on their head. And then
Okay.
you'll see like the spectacled caimans, right? You'll see those
Okay.
in the pet trade, Schneider's dwarf caiman, spectacled caiman. In the pet trade once in a while, they do get larger though. And I don't know, it's kind of crazy to see. It'd be cool to get one of those eventually.
Yeah,
Definitely on one of my little checklists to do. So for sure.
for sure. And let's see. So okay, so assuming that we've got dwarf caimans, I assume there's regular size caimans, right? Is that correct, or is it
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
okay,
Believe the black caiman's the largest caiman
okay,
that is. So they're crocodilians. So um, they're technically like Cuvier's dwarf caiman are the smallest crocodilian in the world. So they only
oh, okay,
reach a maximum of 5 feet in length. Um,
gotcha,
and that's a big caiman. That's a big Cuvier's dwarf caiman, I should say.
okay,
Now the females reach usually between 3.5, 4 feet in length. Um, and just depending on obviously like, you're going to see more, like more heavier, hardier dwarf caimans in captivity,
gotcha,
or just keep, by private owners and things like that, rather than you would in the wild, just because of obviously the fight for food, right?
sure,
We tend to, they're on like a meal plan, right? And when you have them, so they're always getting a lot of good nutrition. So a lot of times they're going to live a lot longer, and they're going to be a little bit more of a hardier caiman when you keep them, rather than in the
gotcha.
wild. But yeah, super cool. They live up to 60 years though.
Okay, see, that
That's
was one of my
crazy.
questions. So they live up
Yeah,
to 60 years. All
yeah,
right,
60
man.
years.
That's yeah, definitely outliving
Yeah.
me. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. They'll like I don't know who's going to be getting these wonderful little creatures, but that will definitely outlive me for sure. So it's kind of super
Yeah,
crazy. So yeah.
that is pretty awesome. So are dwarf caimans like a natural species, or is it something that has to do with a like breeding and things like that, or are they found in the wild like naturally?
They are found in the wild, man. So you'll find them in like Bolivia, things like that, South America, right?
Okay.
And so they are usually in like very like kind of like creek type areas.
Okay.
They don't. They're very shy. They are not really. You're not gonna really see them out, kind of fucking with shit. They're very shy, even in captivity, man. They don't. They like to kind of they kind of avoid things, right? They're very shy. Even when I first got her, she wouldn't eat in front of me for a long time. I'd have to
Oh,
wait for her to
really?
come back. She would eat the food, but then
Mm-hmm.
she was just always like wondering what I was doing, and that's a lot of them they're just very observant, and they're just a lot of that's just epigenetics. I feel that's just
Hmm.
like in their genetics, right? They're just like everything is technically. Especially when they're this size, like birds, things like that, could eat them in the wild. And
Yeah.
so I think, honestly, just from like, even though like these were, captive bred, things like that, realistically, that like just me personally, I feel like the epigenetics have carried along to where they're always going to kind of be very defensive in that sense, just because like
Okay.
90% of them die in the wild. And that's like,
Oh, wow.
baby crocodiles, dwarf caimans, things like that. And that's just because larger predators, basically. So whether that's birds at the time, other reptiles, things like that, will eat them, and just kind of
Okay.
and until they get a larger size to where they can defend themselves, to where they're not technically subject to being just eaten. So
Gotcha. So I got a question in the chat from Old Devil Ball Pythons asking how big of an enclosure do they like or need?
if they're once you get like if you have just a single enclosure for a dwarf caiman, If they're babies, I recommend at least a 75 to 100 gallon to start, and just build off
Okay.
of that as they grow, right? So eventually, it's good to build almost like a room to half a room size for them. That way, they
Yeah,
have
I'm
a good
sure.
pond to kind of hang out in, because they do, like I said, they'll reach 4 to 5 feet. So that takes a lot of space, and for them to because they need to walk around. They want to want them to be
Yeah.
able to swim. And goal is to honestly build something like that at Space Lizard Exotics for them, to where I could just get in the enclosure with them too and hang out, because I got to
Yeah.
keep them socialized, right?
For
Especially
sure.
when they
Yeah.
get bigger, because next thing you know, you just won't hear from Space Lizard Exotics anymore, because I'll be eaten by you. But no, they won't. They can't eat a human, but they could definitely leave
Yeah.
some damage, right? They could definitely
I get it.
like when they get big, they could definitely send you to the hospital. So kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
no, I feel that. Um, and so I do have a curious question. Can you crossbreed the different species of dwarf caiman, or can you only breed a Cuvier's to Cuvier's, or can you can you crossbreed those or no?
It's a very good question. I don't know.
I'd be interested to
I've
find
never
out.
really never really asked that question. Actually, that's a very good question.
Interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no,
find out later tonight, right? So
I'm
I don't
very
know though, dude.
curious.
Yeah, like because I'm planning on eventually breeding dwarf caimans. Eventually, it's going to be this is a long term process, like a long term kind of goal. Just because it does take a little bit of time for them to fully sexually mature and to fully
Oh,
mature
okay.
out, right? So you need about that like 8 to 10 years span, right? To
Really?
kind of like for them to at least start breeding. And
Wow.
just like
Okay.
just so they're mature and they're kind of like they can start busting out babies, things like that, right?
Sure.
Um, yeah, so like I don't know though with like the Schneider's dwarf caiman and the Cuvier's dwarf caiman, not too
Yeah.
sure. That's a very good question.
Interesting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, interesting.
So
So you said it takes about 8 to 10 years for them to be sexually mature?
yeah, so for them to hit
Wow.
their mature their actual like full grown rate actually. So like once they
Yeah.
hit about 8 years old to 10 years old, that's maximum what size they're going to be.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. For sure. Um, and so let me ask you, what sort of care do you put into them? I know you've got your enclosure. Are you changing like water? Like, how often do you feed? Like, what sort of routines do you have for those guys?
yeah, so every day I go in there, I check just make sure the filter's still running good. I run
Okay.
two charcoal filters right now. I'm about to update that to probably just a more of a heavier duty one. Um, just charcoal filter. I didn't really like the oh my god, I'll think of it in a second. It's like I was using charcoal and this other. Oh, come to me in a
Mm.
second. Give me a second. But it's like it kind of pulled out like ammonia in the water or whatever.
Okay.
Zeolite. Zeolite. I was using that and zeolite. Didn't
All
like
right.
zeolite. It was just like didn't I don't know. It didn't really make a big difference. I didn't see. So I just use a charcoal filter, and every day I go through just make sure if there's anything in the water, things like that.
Yeah.
Usually when they do like defecate, they do it on land, which is
Oh,
easier to
okay.
clean up, right? So they'll do it on their like turtle dock. I'll just take it
Yeah.
out, scrub it down, put it back in there, right? And then as far as feeding schedule goes, it's about every 3 to 4 days, depending on what size meal I gave them. If they,
Okay.
yeah, so usually, and then and always too like watch like how much. I know it sounds like trying to be graphic, but just watch how much they like pretty much like shit, right? Too. So like if
For
like
sure.
you just kind of have to watch that too, because you don't like the one thing with dwarf caimans, they will overeat. And
Okay.
as like as humans, we tend to like want to feed things more than they should probably be fed, just because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they seem hungry, it's like not knowing they're just like super like feeding mode, right? So but yeah, just about every 3 to 4 days I feed them.
Okay.
And they get basically a lot of fish. um, I will once in a while give them like actual like small rats, just because it's a
Okay.
good a little bit of fat content,
Yeah.
plus also the calcium with the bones.
Mm.
Other than that, though, I do calcium, just the calcium plus the. Actually, I have it over here. Give me un momento.
Yeah, man.
So I usually do this right here, the repticalcium, right?
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
do
Yeah. Yeah.
this. I'll do that and the herptovite on fish. I do the
Oh,
herptovite
okay.
about once a week, um, on that, and then I do the calcium if I'm just doing fish. I do that on every single fish. like item that I'm doing, except if it's like shrimp, just because I have the shell in the shrimp and that has calcium in it.
Oh, okay.
So, but other than that, I always do the calcium just because one, they absolutely need a lot of calcium. Plus, they, of course, they need the UVB, you know, lights as well, right? UVA,
Gotcha. Okay.
UVB, and
Cool.
that helps them absorb the calcium, pretty much
Yeah.
take that all in. So they need that on all their meals, especially if there's no calcium already in that meal. So always substitute that. But they love it, man. Start tongue feeding them right away if you can.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, super cool.
And do you plan on getting any more Caimans in the future? Or?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. What
yeah.
does that kind of
Oh,
look like? Like, is there like a max number that you want, or is it you're going by like breeding pairs, or like how do
you
you sort
know,
of envision that?
right now, I have a plan for four. So I want to add
Okay.
one more to my collection. I'm
Gotcha.
assuming that is going to blow up into a plethora of these wonderful creatures. Just because I honestly, dwarf caimans are my favorite reptile.
Okay.
Period.
Sure.
Not my favorite, like favorite snake. I would probably say emerald tree boa, but favorite reptile, hands down, are dwarf caimans.
Okay.
Cuvier's dwarf caimans particularly, just because they're like little goblins, dude. Look at them. Oh my god, right? They're super cool. But yeah, definitely want to add that at least one more to the space lizard exotics family here soon, and
Yeah.
eventually make them breeding pairs, things like that, and just have a cool like dwarf caiman like setup, man. I think that'd be super rad,
Oh
and
man.
just being surrounded by just dragons, man, super cool.
Yeah. So, okay, this leads into my next question. Can you cohab all your dwarf caimans? Like, if you have the space, can they just live together, or do you have to keep them separated, or how does that work out?
So I'll probably always keep Nebula and Brutus together, just because they've been mates for a very long time.
Okay.
They've been basically they were both in the same enclosure together when I first got Nebula. Went back, got Brutus because I was like they have to be in pairs, and so
Yeah.
they've known each other for like ever. The
Nice.
Rhea, she's been kind of a lone wolf,
Yeah.
and if I put her in the enclosure with these two, they'd kill her, just
Yeah.
because she's so tiny.
Sure.
So eventually, I'll just probably keep them separate.
Okay.
I'm assuming they'll like like a if I put them down, probably when they get a lot larger, they would be fine.
Yeah.
Most crocodilians are pretty, they adapt with each other. But you just got to watch that too, because you definitely don't want to harm put the animal in any harm, right? Just,
Yeah.
and they're funny, man. So they're dragons, so they'll eat their own, dude, if they can, So they're kind of a trip. So
For sure. So I got Cole asking, what is your favorite pet in your collection? Is there like a specific animal that you have that's your absolute favorite? Like, is it Brutus? Is it Rhea? Is it,
well, that's a
who's
hard
your
one, man.
who's your favorite?
Oh man, cover your ears, right? So it's honestly, dude, oh man, that's a hard one. Honestly, for dwarf caiman wise, man, this little gal right here, I love this gal just because she's so fucking cool, dude. I
Yeah.
get to hang out with her, dude, and she's calm. She'll once in a while, like you'll kind of see her during this video. She's kind of like, "All right, dude, put me down. I'm done
Yeah.
with your shit." And a lot of that because I'm speaking. I've noticed when I'm just calm with her and I sit her on my
Okay.
lap, dude, she'll like chill. She'll like close her eyes. She'll just get real calm, right? A lot of
Yeah.
it's I think my voice and obviously my hand motions, things like that. But I don't know, man. I'd probably say Nebula, man, because she's a sweetheart for a dwarf caiman. She's super smart, and she just displays so much cool things like just in her personality that I just like fall in love with, and it's just really neat. And it's cool too because I've had other people handle her, and she's pretty
Okay.
chill, right?
Nice.
So that's a huge feat, right? So that's super cool. So you do fantastic. You're my favorite.
Yeah, I'd love to come by sometime and be able to handle some of your animals and stuff like that. Because I don't think I've actually held a dwarf caiman before. I know. So we have the what is it, the alligator farm, or what is it out here?
Yeah,
Uh,
Alamosa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Alamosa. I think it's an
And
Alamosa. Yeah.
they brought. So I'm not too familiar with crocodilians or anything like that. But those guys came by BC's one day, and what was it? An American alligator or American crocodile or something like that. I cannot remember. They said it was like super rare. Like they have to have a permit to have it and this and that.
Oh,
But
cool, dude. That's crazy. Okay.
yeah, that's the only crocodilian I've ever held. I held it for like 30 seconds and that was it. But I would love to have one.
Yeah, dude, they're super cool, dude. Like, so weird kind of thing. Alligators and crocodiles are, as babies, are a lot easier to tame out than dwarf caimans. Fun
Oh,
fact.
okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
dwarf caimans are a trip, dude.
So you would probably know this. What is the difference between crocodile, alligator, a caiman? Like, how do those those species sort of like differentiate themselves? Do you happen to know?
So technically, they're all in the caimans are crocodilians,
Okay,
in
gotcha.
the Alligator family, if that makes sense. So it's like how it's like how they're labeled is like they're technically so they're not alligators, so they're like
Hmm.
they're related to like so dwarf caimans are technically related to like the prehistoric crocodile.
Okay.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it
So
is. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just all interesting. I think all animals are like super interesting, and it's just cool to see different species, subspecies, and things like that. It's just fascinating, man. Like if you can learn something new every day, like yeah, that's why I love animals. Like I don't think you'll never see every animal on the earth. You know what I mean?
dude,
It's just
seriously, man.
crazy.
Yeah.
So what? Let's see. Hold on. So what animals do you plan on adding to the space lizard exotic family?
A lot more animal tree boas.
Okay.
That's honestly my biggest goal right now. Just adding more ETBs. And then tokay geckos, man, I fell in love with them, dude. They're super cool. They're feisty. They're very hard to kind of obviously when they're more like around each other, they're very very bitey. Their bites do
Yeah.
hurt, but they're cool, man. Once you tame them out, I have one that's just been kind of like by himself, right?
Sure.
Super cool, but it doesn't really know how to tokay yet, so it's not like super crazy. And so it gets on my shoulder, man. I could tongue feed it. Super neat. So
Nice.
heck yeah.
And do you happen to have a dream reptile? Like, if you could have anything, money's not an issue. You got the enclosure space, this, that. Like, what would you have?
What would I have, man? I would get a crocodile.
Okay,
100%.
you're
For a
having a
reptile, yeah.
crocodile.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
super rad. Yeah, super fun.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I love the fact that you're into all the crocodilians and things like that because like they're just so awesome. And I think as long as we have educated people and people that really care about them, like I would love to see more people kind of get into that stuff.
Yeah,
Because I
dude,
don't think I don't think it's really super talked about in the reptile community. I think that people are into like ball pythons and geckos and things like that, but I don't really know anybody personally that has a dwarf caiman besides you. I don't think. I'm not sure.
right on, man. Heck yeah, they're fun, man. They're definitely a lot to handle, man. They do take daily maintenance. You got to wash them, scrub them, feed them, things like that. But they're worth it, man, because you're dealing with like you're dealing with like a primal, like just like ancient, like
Yeah.
little creature that happened to survive the test of time. Like, what happened with you, right? Super cool.
Yeah, straight up. So leading on to the sort of second half of this whole interview, what goals do you have for 2023? And then I guess a two-parter to that would be what goals do you have and where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? So next year and then like the sort of mid to 5-10 year sort of range.
Honestly, this upcoming year, man, I'm just gonna really focus on just like more branding out things, getting a lot of my breeding projects going, and just kind of take it like day by day with that, man. See where that goes. Hopefully,
For
do a
sure.
lot more traveling as well.
Okay.
I want to go to a lot more reptile shows, man. Kind of just get out,
Yeah.
just talk to a lot more people. Yeah, it's super fun, man. But realistically, man, hopefully just making this like 100% my full-time gig in 10 years, right?
Okay.
That'd be the goal.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I know it takes a lot of time, man. But until that
Yeah.
time, man, I just, I have a blast with it, man. I have fun.
For sure.
I get to show off, these amazing animals, man. I'm already spending time with them, man. So I'm like, might as well share like the experience with them. So
Yeah.
I think it's super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So when we're talking about, let's say 10 years, you want this to be your full-time gig, what does that look like? How do you like, I know the ball python industry, a lot more as far as like, all right, if I have this many clutches and if I invest in this sort of high-end animal and, put them together, I can mathematically, find my way to like retiring or something in like 10 years. But how does that work with crocodilians? Like, is there like a high demand for them? Is there a certain a certain sort of like caiman that brings more money, or like can you have, I don't even know how many eggs they lay, or like I have
It's
know nothing about the logistics.
Yeah, so like realistically, man, there's not really I wouldn't say it's like a crazy big market, but there's definitely a market for it because people still get into
Sure.
them. They're
Yeah.
big in the pet trade, right?
Yep.
But just kind of trying to have a little bit of a diverse kind of breeding projects going.
Yeah. For sure.
Dwarf caimans, green tree pythons, emerald tree boas, tokay geckos down the line eventually as well.
For sure.
But just kind of do that, man. And mainly just because like those are the ones I'm super passionate about. Don't have anything against, breeding ball pythons or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's just, realistically, just it doesn't like spark my like thing to do, right? It's just nothing.
Sure.
It's just like, just seeing a wall of green to me is just like heaven, man. Just seeing all those green tree pythons and emerald tree boas, it's like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
it's super fun. So that's kind of my main thing that I'm probably going to focus on, man. And I'll just figure out, obviously, right, just with how much, you can make off of, each clutch and things like that. It's going to be an experience, trying to get into that and like figuring all that out.
Yeah,
But
man.
it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be definitely a hell of a learning process. So
For sure. Would a goal be to have like a sort of reptarium thing, or would it be like just doing this at home and kind of breeding from your basement or whatever? Like, what
yeah,
would that look like?
probably more like that, man. Reptarium would be super cool, man. It would just have to be like under the right circumstances and probably right
Yeah,
area, right? But yeah,
for
probably just
sure.
doing that, man, and just creating that type of community, man. Eventually just having like just a really fucking badass spot, dude, to where just kind of like what we're doing now, man. We could do like vlogs, podcasts, live
Yeah.
streams, and just make it a fun like part of the community, man. People could always do like the virtual tours and things like that, man. So
That's true. That's something I never actually even thought about is yeah. And we'll get into like all the social media stuff, but having like a virtual tour, we've got like AI and Meta and all these like different technologies that are coming out. It's I think that's definitely going to be something that is on the forefront of the future as far as like you can, people could pay a couple bucks to get a virtual tour of a place that they can actually go visit. You know what I mean?
dude, it'd be super cool. We live in a cool time.
Yeah,
So
it's really interesting. So getting into social media and things like that, you've got see close to 1,400 followers on Instagram, 1.65K subs on YouTube, and an astonishing 63.1 thousand followers on TikTok. Tell me about that experience. I know like TikTok is probably the platform that you put most of your time into.
for sure, man.
But how long have you been like trying to build your social media and uh, how did you get to the point where you have 63 plus thousand followers on TikTok?
Dude, that was crazy, man. It just like so one of my really close friends, dude, like was like, dude, you need a fucking TikTok. And I was like,
Mm,
dude, for real? He's like, get a TikTok. I was like, all right, dude, I'm gonna get a TikTok. So I did it, started posting videos, man. It started kind of catching steam.
yeah.
And then I started posting like 2-3 times a day on it, dude, and just started doing it, keep
Oh,
consistent
really?
with it. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, dude, it just kind of like took off, dude. It was super fun. I love
How,
TikTok, dude. It's so fun, dude. But yeah,
how long ago did you start your TikTok?
I want to say it was about 2 years ago,
Okay.
almost 2 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
kind of
That's
crazy,
really
maybe about a
awesome.
year and a half. Yeah,
Yeah, that so when I was going through your videos and I definitely follow you on TikTok and all your social media. But going through, I've seen that you've got some videos with like 1 million, 1.2 million, 3.8 million, and 17.6 million views. Like, what does
yeah,
that
dude.
even what does that even feel like? Like when you post your video, so you have 17.6 million views with 591,000 likes on your emerald tree boa, just like yawning, showing her teeth. Um, I mean, is that your best video? And
That so far, yeah, yeah.
okay, and like, what is that like? You post your video. Is it just like instant? Like you get likes, views? Like how do you?
It's
What
kind
is
of
that
weird,
even
dude.
like?
Some of them like take off, right, and some of them that you don't expect take off. You're just like, well, I did not expect
Sure.
that to do that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy, dude. Because I didn't go on like a hiatus. I started like putting more toward like my YouTube shorts at a time a little bit. And then like, I was like,
Okay.
fuck, I gotta start getting back on my TikTok train. What the shit? And
Yeah.
started doing it, dude. And then I started posting a whole bunch of Emerald Tree videos. And that one particular one that has like, I think it's like 17 point some million, dude, it just picked
Crazy.
up steam and just never stopped, dude, which is rad. So I
Really?
was like super thankful for that, dude. That was really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know like what sparked it, dude, but it was just like, yeah, dude, it's been shared a lot of times, man. Super cool. And it's
Hmm.
just sometimes it's funny to see the comments, dude. Now, TikTok's a little different, man. Like when a video first kind of posts, I'll respond back to the first few comments on them. But once it
Okay.
goes past like a certain point, you know, it's just kind of sometimes I just kind of watch the chaos unfold, right? For real.
Yeah.
But like Instagram, things like that, usually like like if somebody responds, I'm always responding back and messaging back on Instagram, things like that. But
Sure.
yeah, TikTok's rad though, dude. I highly recommend it for any reptile keeper, man. It's super fun, dude, and it's just rad, dude. Just quick short videos.
For sure.
And you get to show off your beautiful animals, right? It's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's amazing that you've gotten to that point. Man, because like I would say even 2 years is just a short time to get that amount of following and to have videos where you're consistently pulling like 10, 15,000 views plus. I mean, you got views that are 50,000, 400,000, 500, and then million to 17 plus million views. And thousands of likes on them. I think even I think was one of them you have like 100 or a million plus views on. You got like 30,000 likes, and like that's just crazy to me, man. The fact
Right
that you
on, man.
can just pull that, and I think that's how yeah, like the work that you put in that definitely separates you as a brand. Like you're
Right
establishing
on, man.
yourself now, so like even like in 2 years or 5 years, like people are gonna know who you are, and I think that's amazing. I think if a reptile keeper can put in that sort of work, especially even before they start breeding, like you're establishing yourself as a brand, and by the time that you do have something to start selling or put out there, like people are gonna buy from you. Even if
Heck
it's
yeah,
like
man.
merchandise or something, by the time, let's say, you want to throw out some merchandise one day, like people might buy it just because they saw your videos on TikTok. You know what I mean?
That'd be rad, man. Hopefully, man. Actually, I'm getting some next month, January, middle
Hmm.
to end of January. I'm actually going to be having some merchandise. My logo is going to be officially out, so look forward to that. So I'll send you some merch,
Yes.
buddy. So heck
Oh,
yeah.
dude. And I really hope I can get some merch going too. It's just, I think with this industry, you're like constantly investing in your animals. You're constantly investing into like social media and things like that. And um, it might not necessarily be the easiest journey, but it's definitely rewarding.
Dude,
Um,
so rewarding, man. Yep.
it's, I think I would rather starve than have my animals starve and things like that.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's,
for sure,
it's,
absolutely.
it's really fun.
Yeah, I live
Um,
pretty modestly, man. Honestly, man. I'm not really into like, I don't really wear fancy clothes, man. I wear like a
yeah,
black t-shirt every day, some black jeans, some maybe a metal t-shirt, dude.
sure.
All my money and all of my, all of my work goes just into my animals, man. You know,
Yeah.
dude, and it's a lot of it's feeding them. Honestly, just
Yeah, it
feeding
is
them and keeping them
for
healthy, man. They eat
sure.
better than I do, for sure.
Yep, they do. Absolutely. Um, so I'm very curious. How does the monetization work when you're in TikTok? Like, how did you reach that? Like, what do you remember, like, when that happened? And is it like per video, or is it for your channel, or like what sort of process did they have?
It was kind of a crazy process, dude. So like, you have to get above, I believe it's over 1,000 followers, and then you
Oh,
have
okay.
to have at least I want to say I know at least a 30-minute live video, and then
Oh, really?
you have to hit one more other criteria, and then you can start
Gotcha.
monetizing, right? And
Okay.
it takes a minute to set up. And TikTok, by the way, it's super hard. If something does go down, bro, you can't get a hold of anybody. I'm just throwing that out there. It's
For
just like, bro. But it's
real.
super cool once you start seeing it come in, though. You're like, holy shit, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, especially, just getting paid off something that you already love doing. And
Yeah.
I was already gonna do anyway. So it's like it's really fucking cool, dude. So it took some time, man. It did take a lot. Like it was grinding, man. Just posting videos
Hmm.
and even after a long day, bro, you come home and you're like, fuck, dude, I gotta, even after all your chores, you're like, all right, I have to make time for this, man. I know I'm tired, but it's just you
Yeah.
still do it, man. And it's mainly just to keep that content going and people watching it and people engaged and And also too, man, it's just I love I love showing these amazing animals off, showing how much we as reptile keepers care for them and love them, man, and just kind of showing just maybe someone's interested in getting them, maybe they're kind of curious about it, and just sparks their interest, and I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just it's fun, man. So I have a blast.
Do people ever, reach out to you, like asking questions like, what sort of care, what do I got to do to get one? Or like, I don't know, like I'm sure with that many views and that many followers, like you must have like a lot of traffic, in your inboxes or something maybe, or,
Yeah, dude.
maybe.
Mainly on Instagram, dude. A lot of people
Oh,
message
okay.
me on the Instagram, dude. Quite a bit actually. And
Nice.
I always respond back to all my Instagram questions, man. So if I don't respond right away, I'll respond back like within like a day or so. But I
For
always
sure.
message back everyone back, especially if it's like a serious inquiry, dude. I'm always gonna answer
Yeah.
back. But yeah, dude. Mainly it's on Instagram. Not so much TikTok. It's mainly the comments on TikTok, dude. People ask
Oh,
questions.
okay. Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
try to leave as much detail as I can, like inside the what I'm kind of posting. But yeah, so it's pretty fun though.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And do you have like a sort of strategy? Are you posting, a certain number of times a day or a week, or are you on like a consistent schedule, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I got to do this, or like how does that work out?
At least so like with TikTok, I post every single day, at least one
Okay.
video minimum, right?
Really?
Now unless there's like something that absolutely came up to where I'm just like dying in bed or something, or if like a family emergency or something as such, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm posting every single day, no matter what.
Wow.
Now Instagram too, I do the same thing.
Okay.
I try to, especially lately, man. Just been going like just making it, just telling myself, man. Sometimes you gotta talk shit to yourself, man. Just be like, stop being a lazy fuck, get your shit together, light that
Yeah.
fire under your ass, get going, right?
It's
And
hard.
yeah, it's a trip, but sometimes you just got to do it, man, and just take that quick time, and whatever it may be, man. Whether it's just a quick picture, man, just throwing something hay out there, man. Spreading some positivity, whatever it is, man. Right? Just
Yeah.
to keep that like interaction going, man. And you want especially if you're trying to brand out, man. You want the more people see that name, and see it all the time, it's going to start
Yeah.
sticking, right? So
Oh,
that's
for
the main
sure.
thing.
Yeah. It's really crazy. Let's see. So, do you have any advice for any aspiring TikTokers, YouTubers, people that are trying to build themselves up? Like, obviously, you said, posting every day is something that is really helping with that. Is there any, advice that you give someone that's starting on TikTok, reptile keeping, things like that kind of want to get out there?
Yeah, dude, don't get discouraged, dude. Like, don't, dude, because people are gonna fucking hate.
Yeah,
Um, dude, people are brutal, dude, brutal, bro. But it's the internet, right? So like,
for sure.
you just gotta expect it, like,
Yeah,
it's savage, right? But like, dude, just do it because you want to do it, man, and don't get discouraged, man. Make small goals, man, and meet those goals, and like once you're comfortable enough to start posting more, do it. But just get out of your comfort zone, man, and just fucking do it, man. Just take chances, man. People are either gonna love it or they're not, right? So it's like, and the people that
hmm
do, fucking A. People that don't, hey man, there's something else for them out there, man. It's just not their gig, right? But the people that do love it are going to support you, man. They're going to watch it.
yeah,
Hey, dude, we all make fuck ups too, man. Whether we like say something fucking stupid or we, like forget, like I forgot what that was. Oh my god, right? Or like, we mix up something, right? One of
sure.
the things I do a lot, dude. For perfect example, right? So, all right, and mind you, we're in Colorado, dude. I smoke a lot of
hmm
weed, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Like a lot of weed. So like
sure.
sometimes like I'm just kind of like I'm not zoner stoner, but I'm just like I'm
Mm,
thinking about something completely opposite, right? Or I was
yeah.
just reading something about like venomous snakes because like I'm fascinated with venomous snakes too, man. Like vipers and shit,
Okay.
super cool. Obviously, I don't have any, not handling them
Yeah.
currently at all, right?
Yeah.
But when you're reading about them and like, so I'll just be like, smoking a bowl or something, dude. Or take a cruise real quick, smoke a joint, come back. I'm like, oh, cool, dude. I'm gonna do this reptile video. I'm gonna get some emerald tree boas out, and I get them out and I start talking, dude. And and
Yeah.
all of a sudden I say fangs instead of teeth, right?
Mm,
And I'm like, fuck. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah. No,
And
I
I
get it.
usually,
Yeah.
yeah, I usually
It
correct
makes
myself. I'm like,
sense.
I'm sorry, not fangs. I mean teeth. you know, just
Yeah.
because I was thinking about like the fangs on like a fucking like a viper or something, right? So like
Sure.
that's the
Yeah.
like, just things like that. But you're gonna do it. Have fun with it. Don't take yourself too seriously either, man. Have fun, laugh. You gotta laugh at yourself, man, because I mean, at the end of the day, man, I mean, we're dealing with some crazy shit,
Hmm.
and so you have to be a little kooky, right? A little bit out there to be dealing with the stuff that we do, man. So just have fun
Yeah.
with it, dude, and just don't get discouraged, man. And because there's a lot of people that are gonna, have been doing it for a long time, that have been through the same stuff, and um, just stay consistent, man, and
Yeah.
you'll fucking kill it, dude, for real.
Yeah. I definitely think that's the key. Like any YouTuber that you'll watch, or TikToker, people that are really pushing content and their social media, they're super consistent. Yeah, some of them, posting multiple times a day, every day, and
Yeah,
even if you're like don't necessarily have like the best collection or the nicest animals, if you're still posting every day, you're reaching people. You know what I mean? Like the algorithm loves the fact that you can just post every day, and then they start plugging you in, and then people start seeing you more and more.
heck yeah,
And
man.
that's something I know I personally have to work on. I'm doing lives because it's a lot easier for me to not have to like edit, videos every single day. Like I've got
Dude, for
videos that
real.
I'm trying to edit right now, and like they're way overdue. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
So
man.
it's like just sitting down, every day and just grinding that out it definitely takes discipline.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely, man. Especially after like another like you're working another day's work somewhere, dude, and you come home, man. Because you still got to maintain your animals, man. But to post that content, man, it's important, man. But it's a trip, dude. But you always got to keep in mind, man. People love to see that, right? They just want to see realism, dude. They want to see someone that they could relate to, right? So it's
for sure, that's
even if
true.
you're all tired and all like hair messy like I am now, bro, just show up on camera, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely hard because I think it's easy to get self-conscious about how you look, or how do you sound, or like maybe when you're first getting into it you're like, oh man, like I just sound weird, I look weird, like I'm not used to being in front of the camera. But it gets easier, every
It
single
does.
day that goes
Yeah.
by. Like just I think these lives are going to be awesome for me because I get to every week I get better and better. I get to,
Dude,
work
absolutely,
on
man.
editing better videos, better intros, work on better interview questions and things like that. And, looking back, like let's say a year from now, like I'm going to be in a way different spot. You know what I mean?
Way different
And,
spot, dude.
and hopefully, my goal with this, hopefully I can get on some bigger breeders, and also, um, people that are in different areas of like the reptile community, like dwarf caiman people, retic people, cobra people, whatever it is, that people are into in the reptile community. Like I want to be able to talk to them, because you know, I don't even know everything about ball pythons, but that's my focus. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
nice
dude.
to see someone
Heck yeah.
else's perspective, and see how they take care of their animals and sort of what they're doing um, you know, to boost their business and their brand and things like that. It's just fascinating, man. And if I could talk to anyone and everyone, I would love that.
Dude,
Um,
it's so amazing, especially with ball pythons, man. Like, I could tell you anything you want to know about, like, emerald tree boas from, like, the Suriname, Guyana, shield variants to, like, the actual, like,
yeah.
like the actual Amazon basins, dude. But, like, when it comes to ball pythons, dude, it's just, like, there's so many morphs, dude.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
people
Yeah.
just start saying shit, dude. I'm just like, yo, slow the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, is it from? Yeah, where is that from? It's kind of cool, but it's cool, dude. And it's like, and where did that morph come from? Like, who did that? Like, where did,
For
like,
real.
what
Yeah.
is that, right? And so it's
Yeah.
fucking cool, dude. But like, it's amazing talking to people, man, because they're fucking on it, dude. Like, they'll
Yeah.
be like, this is a banana pastel. It's like, what is happening, right? And they just
Yeah.
name all
Right.
the like, it's super cool, dude. So I admire that though. It's really neat,
Yeah.
dude, because it's just
Yeah.
like you could
It's
tell that person like spent time studying that shit, dude. It's super fucking cool.
Yeah, for sure. And that actually leads perfectly into my next question is, how do you educate yourself? Like, when you first got into reptile keeping and things like that, what were you doing to make sure that you had proper care, or educating yourself about, certain animals that you wanted to get into? Was it,
Honestly, man, yeah, just like tried to find as much information from reputable like people. So like
yeah.
Green Tree Pythons, obviously, man, I read that like Greg Maxwell book, like a Bible.
Okay.
Learned so much from that, and then I started asking people questions that had Green Tree Pythons.
Okay,
And
sure.
like, and like, you know, and that we're keeping them like well, dude. And like, we're having success with them. Just cause it's like, dude, I want to learn from that, right? I need to
Yeah,
learn from that. I want to keep mine just like that, right? And just doing that, man. And then with dwarf caimans, dude, it was like, I always knew I wanted a crocodilian, you know, and then all of
yeah,
a sudden I was like, I got to learn as much as I can about these things. And so like, honestly, it's really, dude, so it's really crazy, dude. Like you could find basic information on dwarf caimans, right? Like, you know,
sure.
what temperature they want their water at, what they eat, what lighting they need, things like that, right?
Yeah,
But as far as like other shit, dude, there is not a lot on there, dude. There is not a lot out there, and it's very vague information, dude. So it's like even zoos have been, you know, known to kind of give like a little offset information. And so what I started doing was hitting, you know, like a lot of the people I follow and they follow me back on Instagram, do that have dwarf caimans and that
yeah,
have been had them for years. And I'm like, hey, dude, listen, I haven't
yeah.
had mine as many years as you, but I have these questions. Like, and start asking them that, and they're very transparent usually, and it's really cool. So, like, I don't know, the best thing to, you know, just ask as many questions as possible of other keepers, man. And don't be afraid to ask, man. You know, because a lot of, you know, a lot of people in our reptile community are fucking cool, dude. And then
Hmm.
just try to read as much as possible, man, on that, dude. And I know there's a
Sure.
lot of overload information, man, especially about like when it comes to like genus, family, and shit like that, all that crossing. But like, and I sometimes even get like them mixed up. I do. I'm human. Sometimes I'm like,
Yeah,
did I
sure.
flip that around?
It's
Fucking, you know. But
for sure.
just
Yeah,
read and just the best experience though is like, and the best learning experience I had is just dealing with them, dude. Because honestly, like you can read as much as possible, but until you finally like start experiencing it, like,
exactly. Yeah.
oh fuck, dude, that's what I needed to do with like the humidity. Because I'm in
Hmm.
Colorado and it's dry as fuck here, and
Oh
like
my
I need to,
gosh.
oh my
Yep.
god, right? And so like,
Yep.
dude, especially with green tree pythons and emerald tree boas, man, they take very high humidity in their enclosure, dude. And so you
Yeah.
have to keep that shit up very high, right? And so
For
like
sure.
I have like humidifiers going in my room and things like that just to keep that humidity up. And like you have to fill that, and it's just like, you know, Colorado's a bitch, dude. So with that, so
Dude,
it's a
yeah,
trip.
for anybody that doesn't know, I mean you're still in Pueblo, right?
So yeah,
Yeah. So and yeah, I just spent the last 2 years in Pueblo. And when I moved to Pueblo, like we're looking at humidity that's like 10% or like less year round. That's what I've been seeing. And
yep,
so it's humidity is the biggest issue that I face keeping my reptiles.
dude.
Now that I have this rack, like it's a lot easier, but I had a bunch of I had almost all these guys in exoterras before. And man, it was a pain. Like constantly
Dude,
having to spray down, making sure that water bowl is full and this and that, and like having a humidifier and then having to fill it every day just because like it's literally not maintaining that humidity, so it's just constantly pumping out.
all the time,
Um,
bro. It's a
yeah,
trip, dude. It's like,
yeah,
what the
and
fuck? Yeah.
yeah, it's I think a lot of people just don't understand because a lot of people live in regions where there is humidity that's 60-70% year
Yep.
round or higher, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And we just don't get that here. I think even in Colorado Springs it's really not that much. Like I think having the mountains here might help a little bit, but once you start going, further south, like you're just
It's
yeah,
a
it's
desert,
it's
dude.
really hard. It's a
Yeah, and
desert,
trying to
yeah.
maintain that, dude, and like, you know, because most of the time, like you said, man, most of the information that you get is from, you know, a lot of that information they're in like higher humid environments, and so like
Yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
I don't know why that's not working for you, and you're like, oh shit, I got to up my shit way different. You got to dial that in, kind of where you're at, you know, and so
Yeah,
I think that was a huge challenge, man, just because like, you know, especially with sheds, right? You want a clean shed.
yeah, yeah.
And so like that's a big indicator, man, to where it's like if they don't if that shed's not clean, man. If it does not come out like, you know, all off in one piece, man. If you it's something's going on with the environment, right? And
Yeah,
so like trying to dial that in, dude. But so far I'm good. So it's like I keep
that's good.
my room and my the humidity in the room about 55-60% humidity like all the time. So,
Okay.
which is and that seems to be standard. And I still spray down my enclosures 3 times a day. So,
Gotcha. For sure. That's good. Do you have any mentors or anything like that that you go to or ask questions about your reptile keeping?
you know, honestly, dude, the only person that's like, I mean, I have a lot of like acquaintances, man, like, you know, that we talk to, right? That, you know, like we
Sure.
came across on just like reptile industry, things like that, man.
Yeah.
I would honestly say, man, like Ron's been the biggest like type of guy that mentor in that reptile sense, right? Of being like, hey,
Sure.
dude, like don't do this because you're fucking up, and and he's
Yeah.
he's telling you that because he's being honest, and he just he's not going to tell you any misinformation.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I would say him, man, just because he's like, no matter what you ask him, he's going to just shoot straight from the fucking hip.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know it, he'll find out immediately, but he's a plethora of knowledge anyway, so he knows like fucking a lot of that shit, dude.
For sure.
And just like, I don't know, man, he's always done me like very well with, all the questions I've always asked, man. Just dealt with my goofy shit too, so I would probably say him, man, as far as like,
Yeah.
because he knows his shit, man. He's been in the industry a long time, bro.
Yeah.
Knows a lot of people, man. And just to have that, person, that's like trustworthy and runs a very cool operation and is willing to talk to you is pretty fucking cool, especially, coming from that old school kind of generation, man.
Yeah.
No, and then I'm not saying that in a negative way at all. I'm just saying like a
Yeah.
lot of those like, a lot of those old heads, man, that like know a lot of that knowledge, man, they're not passing that shit out freely sometimes, man. They aren't, man.
Well, I mean, you
So
got
like, yeah, it's a
yeah.
trip.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about the fact that like before we were born, I mean, even after, like, there wasn't like internet. Like you had to have that hands-on experience and like in order to get your business out there, like you actually had to put in some hard work. Like they didn't have TikTok
Dude,
or Facebook, Instagram to be able to push their content or get people interested or
swear
a
was, man.
platform to really educate people unless they came by their store or whatever it is. And I'm sure a lot of people were just doing it from their homes anyways. You know what I mean?
Seriously, and building shit out from like Lowe's and Home Depot, bro. I had to go get like lights at like
yeah,
hardware
right.
and stuff, dude. Like seriously, man. So they know their shit, It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, and
they were in it, dude.
had to deal
Yeah.
with all the issues of like homemade stuff, and now we've got like ARS cages and Exoterras, and you can buy like specific pumps for different animals. I'm sure a lot of that stuff wasn't really existent back then. I'm sure they were like
Yeah.
using basic aquarium type stuff that might not even be good for a reptile or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude,
that
betting, all that stuff, dude. Like where we came,
yeah.
dude. We're spoiled now, bro. We really
For
are.
sure. And it's crazy because even now, like, especially like ball pythons and stuff like that, and I'm sure a couple other different, species of animals, they're getting genetic testing now. And like 10 years from now, like they're gonna have all this genetic testing so you know what your genetics are. And like those guys had to figure it out. Sometimes they put 5-10 years into a project just to like make something that nobody had ever seen or to prove out a brand new gene. Like that blows me away. The fact that like
Dude,
we got
cool.
these old like nerd proving out all these different genes and it's a crazy thing to think about that like these guys were the pioneers for our industry, you know what I mean? So let's see, what was my next question? So currently in Colorado, are there any sort of threats to the animals that you keep? Like, are there any laws that they're trying to make it so you can't own those animals?
So not that I know of currently in Colorado,
Okay,
at least.
that's
Now
good.
they were, remember that oh my God, what was it recently?
The,
That whole
the Lacey
Miranda
Act?
Lacey Act,
Yeah,
dude. So like that's concerning just because like
yeah,
you know, when politicians get involved in something, they usually don't stop, right?
yeah, for sure.
Especially when they feel like there's an agenda behind it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, and I'm not political at all, dude. I'm not either
Hmm.
side on that spectrum, to be quite honest with
Yeah,
you. I just, to be quite honest, they're both, pushing whatever that agenda is for usually money on their end or because they feel like they're saving the world.
yeah,
I don't know, and my personal opinion on that doesn't really matter, but I just feel like they should probably back off on that, man, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're all animals, man. I mean, unless scientifically that changes, as far as like what they have like in the definitions of, humans, we're technically mammals, right?
sure.
So we're basically apes with cell phones, dude. Like
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
And so like for them to be like, hey, you're an animal and you cannot experience or own and take care of another animal. I think that's mind-boggling. That blows
Yeah.
my fucking mind, dude. Like to where, and it's like, and they make laws about it, and it's like,
Yeah.
bro, like who are you trying to protect? They're just like you from yourself. It's like, oh come on, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, man.
And it's weird because a lot of them don't realize, man, that they're hurting, the animal more than they realize, man. To where, like, for example, like me having dwarf caimans, right? Let's just say I have like a fucking 100 of these fuckers, right?
Sure.
And I'm breeding them consistently, right? Guess what? They're not getting eaten by. They're not getting eaten by birds in the wild. 90% of them aren't dying in my care, and so like realistically, that type of conservation of being like, hey man, we could breed these and make sure they don't like go extinct. In
Sure.
my personal opinion, all these animal laws, it's like that's how animals just go bye-bye eventually, right?
Yeah.
Taking away the ability for humans to, breed them and things like that. And another thing else, man, is like, dude, poaching is a real thing. Whether it's, I know in
For
like,
sure.
you look at like the whole tiger situation, right? It's like, man, like poachers do a lot of damage, man, and that's some real shit. And if you take that away from like humans being able to kind of keep them, safe from that, I feel, my personal opinion, I feel like it's going to cause more damage down the line, and especially with caimans, man. It's like, a lot of people are like, oh my God, they're dangerous. What if something happens to you? And it's like, man, I drive in a car every day, man. I drive
Exactly.
crazy ass people, man. Like more people
For
die
sure.
guaranteed in a car than from, crocodilians or anything as such. So it's just like, I don't know, their argument's kind of weak in my opinion, but
yeah, I think that's why it's important for us as reptile keepers to do things like this, post on social media, educate people, because a lot of people misunderstand these animals thinking that they're dangerous or they're going to eat their babies or something like that. And it's like, it's really not true, especially if you put proper care, husbandry, and socialization into them. Like you're going to have an animal that, is not going to act the same way it will in the wild. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so it's important for us to get out there and make sure that we're,
heck yeah, man.
Getting behind this industry and really doing our part. There's things like USARC that are really trying to push for our animal rights. I think it's a great way to get involved for anybody that is getting into reptile keeping or owns reptiles, because man, like those guys are, they're our voice. Like I heard someone put it this way, is like, if you invest, like $40 a year into USARC, which is like the base membership for a bronze membership, you do that, like they've got their team of lawyers to protect you, and they're talking to your politicians to try to keep, these animals legal and things like that. And so I think it's just an awesome way to get involved if you guys can, because man, like it's hard for one person to really do this and
oh yeah, absolutely.
have a voice by themselves and stuff like that. So we need to be responsible as keepers with our animals, make sure we're not posting things that are like devastating to our community, because I think there are some keepers that do that. They post stupid videos that are like really kind of degrading what we're trying to build up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah, because it's still kind of a taboo industry to keep, like, like caiman, right, and things like that.
For sure. But, yeah.
I mean, me personally, man, like I love my animals, man. Like I have an emotional connection with them, man. Like I truly love my caiman, right? I love my caimans, love all my animals, and having that emotional connection with them, and like they know you, right? Like she knows when I walk in the room, she interacts with me, and it's like that's a connection, right? That you spent time on, and that like it's a connection that's like it's priceless in my opinion. So, and to have that taken away by like some stupid law is fucking insane. So yeah,
for sure. My next question, and then we'll kind of get to wrapping this up in a couple minutes. But what do you recommend that people, start keeping, dwarf caimans, emerald tree boas, green tree pythons, things like that? Like, would you recommend these for somebody that wants to get into the reptile industry, or would you recommend like they go a different route before they get into that stuff?
Honestly, man, I'm not really a big believer on like, obviously, like when I was just getting into, when I wanted to get into green tree pythons, I just wasn't ready for green tree python. And a lot of that just because it was lack of my education on it in that sense, right? And like lack of like, oh my God, I cannot maintain this type of snake, with my schedule, right, too. So I wasn't ready for that type of shit. But realistically, man, if like, if you're ready for it, you just, learn what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Don't get any reptile and be like, hey, like, I don't want it no more.
Yeah, for sure.
it's getting too big. It's like, oh, it's too aggressive. It's too defensive.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. It's like, get it to be part of your family and make sure, I don't, fuck, if this is your first fucking reptile, kudos, man. If that's your
Yeah,
personality, if that's what fits your personality and you're, willing to like, put in the time and effort to it and that's your
yep,
focus, absolutely do it. Because guess what? You're going to eventually be an expert on that. You're going to spend so much
for
time
sure.
with your dwarf caiman and getting to know its personality. Just
Yep.
kind of like how I am with her. She's sweet, dude. She's super cool. She gets a little like, all right, dude, you've been holding me for fucking ever. Put me down, but she's chill, right? I could go up there, pet
She's
her little feet,
yeah,
so
man.
it's crazy, right? And so like, it just takes time, man. Now, when I first got her and did this, I wouldn't be able to do this, man.
Yeah.
And so like, it takes time, man. I tell everyone, man, just like, man, if you want it, learn about it, make
Hmm.
sure that's what you want, make sure that you are not going to neglect that animal. That's the biggest fucking thing. Don't
Yeah.
like be passing it down, because once an animal starts getting passed down, that could go wherever, man. So
Yep.
just make sure you got that shit in a stable environment, and you're willing to put in the time, money, and effort, and like countless hours into making sure that they're getting enrichment and things like that. So
For sure, man. I think that was one of the things that was really awesome about working for BCs is the fact that I got to experience all sorts of animals. I think, I can't give you like an example off the top of my head, but there would be animals I'm like, oh yeah, I want that animal. I'd love to have one day. And then you start working with it and you're like, all right, not, like either too much work or like you just realize like maybe their personalities don't fit your personality. And
yeah,
because I think,
me and
yeah, a lot of people,
anacondas.
yeah, sure. But then there's some people that might really love an anaconda. They might really put in the work to educate themselves about it. Like maybe become like an anaconda ambassador or something. I mean, someone that really has a passion for it, and they might love it. But yeah, it was nice working for Beasties because like I got to you know, see everything. You know what I mean? And yeah, there's some animals that I just after working with them, not that they're like bad animals, but I just feel like I wouldn't put in the proper care, give them the time that they need
Yeah,
to have
absolutely,
that
man.
enrichment and stuff like that.
For sure, man.
So yeah, it's always good, if you guys have a local reptile shop, hopefully with some like reputable breeders or this or that, like go and ask questions. Make sure that before you get into something, you know exactly what it needs, like enclosure space, the enrichment, whether it needs to be bioactive, whether it needs hiding spaces, this or that. Because man, your animal's just going to have so much better of a life if you can give it the proper care and the time. Like even this last year, I got a dog, and I got it when I was working for BC's, and I honestly wasn't working that much. But once I started getting a full time job, like me being a single guy, like I just had to find her a good home because I wasn't giving her the proper care that she needed, and it wasn't
Yeah,
because I was
yeah,
trying to neglect her or anything. But if I'm working 10 hours a day, and it's just she's not getting walked, she's not getting to go outside, and um, I just realized that wasn't the best thing for me. I thought it would be because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be so active. We're gonna go hiking every day and this and that. But it's the same with
yeah,
any animal. Like if you're not there to feed it every day, if you're not there cleaning its terrarium every day, um, or if you just don't have the passion for it, then it's not gonna work out in the end. I think that's a big thing with like tortoises. People want a little baby tortoise. All of a sudden it gets big, they don't want it anymore. They just like let it sit and it's sit in the corner and they just never get to socialize with it because they're either lazy or they just don't have the time. Like these animals are living beings. They still
heck yeah,
have
man.
their own sort of like thought process and their own sort of the way they experience life. And if you can't fulfill that for them, then it's probably not going to work out for you.
Heck
Um,
yeah, man.
so really quick, besides animals, what are some hobbies that you have? Like, is there anything else that you're into, kind of heavy?
I do art, man, and I read a lot.
Okay.
So I love listen to a lot of metal music. So
Sure.
love me some heavy metal, my dude. So
All right. Do you
yeah, dude.
play or anything like that? Do you like play
So
guitar or?
so I play bass. I haven't played
Oh,
bass in
okay.
a long time though, man. So like it's like
Yeah.
I can't be like, hey, I play bass all the time now. But when I did play instruments, man, it was bass, man. But yeah, dude,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just like usually I just jam out, bro. Just listen to music.
For sure.
I really am into art, man. Shit like that, dude. Love that stuff, dude. Yeah, dude. Just kind of live very kind of simple life, my dude. So just animals,
Yeah.
man. You know, yeah, that's about it. So
No, I feel that. I used to be like heavy into music, or at least I think so. Like I always wanted to do like music growing up and stuff like that, and it just never really worked out. And like the past couple of years, I haven't even like hardly picked up my guitar and everything. Um, but that was the direction I wanted to go. And then yeah, finding reptiles just like shifted everything.
heck yeah, man.
Yeah, so I think yeah, reptiles and animals are great, especially if you're somebody that struggles with like anxiety or depression or some sort of I'm not saying that applies to everybody, but man, like animals might be a way to get your mental health in check and things like that. Because man, like it's helped me a lot.
Oh yeah, dude. These honestly, like, especially my dwarf caimans, man, they've saved my life, man. For real. They just like they're cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah, 100%. So winding up, do you have any advice for any reptile keepers out there or people that are wanting to get into this?
Um, man, just have fun. Have fun, dude.
Sure.
If you're not having fun, if you're not having fun, man, just it's not worth it, man. So just have fun, dude, and um, learn as much as you can. Don't get discouraged, man. Like I said, and just have fun, dude. Talk to as many people as you can, dude. I know a lot of us are introverts, man.
Yeah,
It kind of
for
just
sure.
comes with it kind of comes with the territory, right?
I think so.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's yeah, dude. Just reach out, man, and don't be afraid to talk to people, man. You know, you're always gonna run across those fucking kind of dipshits out there. But then you run across fantastic humans, and you get to meet them, whether they're in your like local area or if they're like across the world, man. Super fucking
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, it's always neat, and it's just kind of I don't know, yeah, just have fun, man. That's the biggest thing, man. If we're not having fun, man, like what are you doing it for, right? So
For sure. So last question I've got for you tonight, and it might kind of tie into, that same sort of question, but is there anything positive that you could pass on to anybody? Um, it could be to anybody. It doesn't even have to be reptile keepers. Is there anything positive you want to leave us with tonight?
um, yeah, man, just hey, dude, treat your animals awesome, man. Treat each other good. Don't be so hard on yourself, and don't be so hard on others either, man. It's like it's a crazy world. Last couple of years, especially, have been what the fuck just happened, right?
Sure.
Yeah, dude, and just be cool, man. Just don't be I guess don't be a poon dick, right? I don't know. So, yeah, dude, just be cool, man, and just take care of
For
your
sure.
animals, man, and
Yeah.
just just be just have fun in life, man, and just I don't know, as you're into reptiles too, man, get into some cool groups online, man. Talk to a lot of people. Feel free to reach out to obviously any of us on this channel too. Whether it's
For sure.
John or myself and just other people, man. And just
Yep.
I don't know. I found a lot of cool human beings, dude, just that are into the same kind of shit, dude. And yeah, that's all I could say, man. Just treat each other well, man, and just have fun. So
No worries, man. Well, so that sort of wraps up our show. I'm actually going to play the intro again because I think a lot of you guys missed it. I know there's not a lot of people left here, but man, if you guys haven't already, go make sure you subscribe to Space Lizard Exotics. I assume over all platforms, pretty much. I mean, that's what you got for TikTok, Space Lizard Exotics, Instagram,
yep,
Space Lizard Exotics, YouTube. Are you on
Space
anything
Lizard.
else?
Yeah, that's it, my dude. So yeah, those are the
For
main
sure.
three. So
Awesome. So I'm going to play this video and we're going to head out. If you could just stick by for like a minute after and we can kind of wrap this up behind the scenes.
absolutely, man. Cool.